And I'm live. Finally. I've been having some trouble here. Yeah. Sorry, I'm letting someone who wants to watch my stream know. She was having trouble getting in, and I actually had to restart this twice. So this is actually the third time. You're seeing this the third time. Yeah. Yeah. Happy New Year. Welcome. It's a brand new year, 2019. Yeah, I survived. I didn't survive well. Um, Seriously, I was supposed to go out to a New Year's Eve party with some of my teammates, and like around 4 in the afternoon, my anxiety kicked in, and I could not. I mean, seriously, I just could not even leave the apartment. I was just like, oh, what if I get down there and I get uncomfortable, and I feel alone, and mental health. I swear to God. My mental health kicks me in the ass more times than I care to admit. And I even had some of my teammates on Wednesday. They were like, "Where were you? Where were you?" I was like, I told her. And a couple of them, they were like, "Yeah, I understand how that is." I said, I got mental illness. I got anxiety. I got depression. And sometimes it just kicks me in the ass, and I can't. I said, I couldn't get out of the house. So they understood. But it killed me. I was actually crying at like 1 o'clock in the morning because I was going, I should have went to the party. Why didn't I go to the party? I hate being this way. It really was. It sucks. You'll probably notice now that I'm pointing this out that I have this thing on my lip, and it's not what you think it might be. No, I haven't done anything like that. I actually burned my lip while eating breakfast one morning, if you can believe that. I actually burned my lip eating breakfast. And it blistered real bad. It actually popped during a practice and then scabbed over. And then the scab came off, and now it's re-scabbed. And yeah, it's just a pain in the ass. What can I say? But I do have my big hoops in today. See? These are not my biggest. These are actually, I've got 3 sets of hoops that are like this. And this is actually the smallest set of hoops I've got like this. I have one set that's about 10 millimeters bigger in diameter, and I have another set that they kind of like rest on my shoulder like that. They're that big. And yeah, I love wearing my hoops. I wore my real big ones one time to a transgender support meeting dinner. And someone actually had the audacity to like remark on them. They were like, "Why are you wearing those?" And I said, "Because I can, bitch." She gave me a real dirty look when I said that. It's like, fuck off. You don't like my hoops? You know what? As we were told, if someone says something derogatory about our hoops, we just say, "Now I'm dressing like a congresswoman." Yeah. Yeah, bitch. Yeah, red lipstick, red nails, big hoops. You're dressing like a congresswoman now. Water. Man, I'm hydrating like mad these days. I am drinking a minimum of 60 ounces of water a day, which works out to about 1.5 liters of water. It really does. So, yeah, I have to stay hydrated. Even when I'm not practicing, I have to stay hydrated. It really, I'll get to that. So, nothing new on the job front. I actually applied for several counseling positions. They keep sending me this stuff saying, you'd be great as a counselor. And I tried applying for an IRS position. Seriously. And I got into it, and it's like they want a dozen documents, like college transcripts and shit like that. And I'm going, I ain't got any of this crap. The fuck? And it's really funny. They demand a cover letter, but they don't demand a resume. But they want to see your college transcripts and all this other shit. And I'm like, I got none of that crap. What the hell are you talking about? Seriously. Government jobs really are. They're just a pain in the ass to apply for. I'm crossing out some shit in my email. I know I shouldn't be doing this. But yeah, applying for government jobs, they want all this crap. It's like, dudes, here's my work experience. What the hell do you need to see? I don't have college transcripts. Why do you need to see my college transcripts? I don't have any of that shit. You know, I graduated from a community college in 1982. I have absolutely no fucking idea where my transcripts are. I don't really feel like contacting the university and going, could you send me my transcripts because the IRS wants them if I want to work there. Besides, the government's in shutdown right now. I did get turned down for a FEMA job. Yeah, they said I didn't meet some of the the qualifications. I'm like, if I remember correctly, all you needed was like a high school diploma and shit. I think it was because there was probably a document I didn't include, and they lost their shit on it. So I don't know, but I couldn't even get a job working for FEMA. But right now, as we know, the government is in shutdown. So even if I did go to work for them, I wouldn't get paid. Thanks, motherfucker. Oh boy. Yeah. Thanks. But I'm still applying. And like I said, I've mostly been applying for like administrative and clerical jobs anymore. I've given up on IT. I really have. I don't think I'm going to get back into IT no matter what. And to be quite honest, at this point, I don't think I want to go back into IT. I really don't. It's just a pain in the ass. So there we are. I wrote a few articles and stuff this week, but I really didn't get much into writing again. Although I'm plotting. I'm plotting out more. Just plotting things here and there, story ideas, but not really writing. And this was the first week where I was sitting at home going, I should actually be writing something. I really did. I was like, I should sit down and just write something. And that's something I haven't felt in a long time. I haven't really felt the urge to sit and write. So that's a good sign. I look at that as it's the feeling is coming back and I'm getting the urge to want to write. Now it's a matter of actually just sitting down and writing and seeing how it goes. And probably sometime this week, I will sit down and begin writing out stuff and just see how it goes. If I do like 300 words, 400 words, fine. I just want to see how I feel. But listen to a bit of music, write. Even if I just spend an hour, most of the time I'm sitting around napping for an hour. Yeah, I come home and I'm like, so I'm keeping myself busy with things and I'm keeping myself busy in the writing area. And I'm hoping to get back into writing. So we'll see where it goes. Okay, of course I'm going to keep you apprised. Yeah. Let's see. Writing jobs. What else is there? Yeah, by now you ought to know my triumvirate of things. Yeah, Derby. I passed tier 2. That was confirmed on Sunday. Actually, we came in on our Sunday practice, and our coach said, "If you're here, you passed tier 2." Basically, that's exactly what she said. She's like, "Well, you guys have done all your skills. If you're here right now, you've passed tier 2." And I worked on some stuff. My hitting didn't get any better, and again, I know I'm overthinking it. So I'm waiting to when we actually get the opportunity to scrimmage, which is going to be later in the month, I believe, to see how I do. Right now, we're working on skills. And Wednesday night, was my first practice with the vets. It was kind of confusing because originally we got a message from our coach telling us to wear sneakers to practice. I usually don't wear sneakers. I usually just wear my Uggs. And my experience in the past has been when you're told to wear sneakers to derby practice, you're looking at off skates cardio, which means a lot of running and shit. I've done that. Somebody was like, "Well, how hard can that be?" And it's like when you run from one end of the rink to the other the long way, which is about 200 feet, and you do that like a few times. It's tiring. I've done that before. It is tiring as hell. There's a thing that I've seen DDR do where they'll like run around the outside of the track and nobody looks happy while they're doing it. It's because we're used to doing shit on skates. And around the track, the length of the track is 180 feet, which is almost 2/3 the length of a football field. So you got to run that. And if you're running on the outside, you're actually running closer to 300 feet. If you're running on the outside of the track, it's actually closer to 300 feet. So, yeah, you're running like one end of a football field to another. Nobody likes that shit. I always used to hate. I can remember in high school, a couple of times they wanted us to run sprints from one end of the football field to the other. And I was like, I can't do that. That's fucking ridiculous. Wednesday night we come in, and I didn't know what to do. I even told a couple of the tots over there. I was like, normally when we're wearing sneakers, when we're told to wear sneakers, that means we're going to do some off skates cardio. So I don't know what to do. So I put on my knee pads and left my sneakers on. And our coach she showed up and she said, "Oh no, go get geared up." And then she said, "I was hoping when this is all over tonight, we could play sock derby." And sock derby is basically you play derby, but in either socks or tennis shoes. I've played it in socks. And you're sliding all over the goddamn place on the rink floor when you're wearing just socks. You do. It's just ridiculous. You can't get any traction. You're sliding everywhere. So she said, we'll see what to do. And I asked the question, if we're jamming, do we have to run all the way around the track? Because one time I played sock derby and I was the jammer and I got through and they made me run around the damn track. And again, it's like 180 feet. It's like 2/3 the length of a football field. When we're skating that, we can do that in 12 seconds. When you're running it, it's more like it takes you 30 seconds. And everybody's just standing there waiting for you to come around. And you're huffing and puffing by the time you get up to the pack again. And it's just like, I'm dying. And she said, "No, you can cut." It's like cutting through the inside and come back. But we didn't end up doing that. But they did finally say, go out there and integrate with the vets. Oh, let me tell you. Yeah, we integrated with the vets all right. And we did a lot of cardio, a lot of sprinting. I stayed on the track. I stayed on the track with the vets and got out of their way. In fact, I heard a couple, I heard one of my teammates, Dash, was coming out, and I heard her say, Cassidy, move. And I moved quickly to my right as she come around on the inside of me. And yeah, I always keep an eye out, but I was like, yeah, I'm trying to pace some of the vets, and I was actually like pacing some of them. And we had to do these crazy ass sprints. It's insane. You're basically sprinting like 30 feet. You're in 3 lines across and you sprint 30 feet. And when your teammate gets to the other side, you have to then take off. The whistle blows and you take off. And the object is you've got 3 people in 3 lines and you never have an empty line. That's the idea. So you have to keep coming around real fast. And you end up having to actually sprint back from the finish on the outside. You have to come out, sprint back, and then get in line again. And usually I was coming back and getting in line just as the whistle was blowing to go again. So it's like you end up constantly going. And then we did a pyramid sprint that was 5 to 10 to 5, 5 laps to 10 laps, back down to 5. And if you weren't doing laps, you were up on your toe stops doing toe stop work, which meant you were either hopping around, which I can do on my toe stops, or you were doing stuff like, moving quickly from side to side and using your toe stops to stop yourself. But me and my partner, I don't know that anyone actually completed all the laps. If you go 5 laps to 10 laps to back down to 5, that's a pyramid sprint. That's 80 laps total. Yeah. My partner and I, we did 35. We went 5 to 9. We got to 5 to 9. So we actually ended up with 35 laps, which I was happy with. And there was a lot of traffic. I mean, like, damn near the whole team was there that night. Oh, I don't even remember, like, everything we did. Oh, we did one pace line. I swear, this is what it must be like to actually be out in about, because we had 2 pace lines going with like 14 people in each pace line. And everyone is shouting, someone's coming up on your left, someone's coming up on your right. And the noise was just incredible. Man, really, it to me, there was a point in my head where I was going, that's probably what it's like to be out there during a bout, so you got to get loud. I'm loud. I have a big mouth. I was even told I have an outdoor voice, because I got the lead stretching one night for practice, and I was told afterwards, Cassidy has an outdoor voice. That's going to be good. Because you could hear me. There was no doubt you were going to hear everything I said. I'm just like that. So I survived Wednesday night, but man, I was sore. I was real sore. I mean, when I went to bed, I wasn't that sore when I left practice. And that's usually because your endorphins and everything are flowing. If you have like a really energetic practice, your endorphins get flowing. So you don't feel the pain as much. The adrenaline's going, the endorphins going, you don't really feel the pain. It's after you've done that 40-minute drive home and you got to get out of your car and you go, I can't move my legs, which I've done on more than a few occasions. And yeah, I just got home and soaked in the tub for about 10 minutes straight before I even started washing myself. And it's times like that I wish I had a bigger tub where I could just literally stretch out and submerge myself up to my neck. I do. I was just in so much pain. And by the time I went to bed, I was just like, oh my God, I hurt. It was the first time I took ibuprofen before going to bed in like a long time. Even when I had all that intense groin pain. Yeah, I had, that was the other thing. One of our last practices before we got integrated with the vets, we were doing stuff where we were actually in a line with a brace, with a jammer hitting on us. And we went at that for like 30 minutes. And, you know, as our coach told us, she goes, you're finally getting an idea of what it's like to play derby. And I've scrimmaged before. So I knew kind of what it was going to be like. But not quite the way we were doing it. A lot more teamwork involved, really. It was pretty intense. And we were learning how to recycle. We were learning how to rotate. Yeah, we were learning how to rotate. And yeah, it was crazy. But at one point when we sat down, I got up and I was like, oh my God, my groin is on fire. Because when you're in squats and you're moving back and forth and you're plowing to keep the jammer from pushing you forward, you're engaging your core and you're engaging the muscles in your inner thighs. And yeah, like everybody was like, oh man, my groin hurts. And our coach said, if you were doing all that stuff correctly, you should have moderate groin pain. I had moderate groin pain, man. When I got home, I was just like, oh my God, the muscles in my groin are killing me. It was just intense. So yeah, moderate groin pain. And I had moderate groin pain Wednesday night during practice, and then the next night during practice. It got to the point where I was having trouble. You know, I had fatigue. Even my teammate, I was with Acid Rain, Ray as we call her, and she was like, "You're just getting fatigued. It's okay." And I was like, "Oh my God, I can't get my foot down. I mean, I can't press. I'm having trouble getting my foot in position. I couldn't press the plow." And she's like, "Don't sweat it. Don't sweat it. You're just fatigued. That's all. Don't worry about it. It'll come." So, yeah, survive practice with the vets. And the last practice was all plows for days, as our coach called it. Was plows for days. And trust me, we did plow for days. Like damn near the whole practice was plows. Oh, geez. But I'm getting a little better. My teammate. She was pushing me from one side of the rink to the other while I'm trying to plow and stop her. And she's like, sit lower. You got it. Now sit up, get your chest up. Now get your foot out. Now dig in. She's guiding me the whole time. Really, really good. And for a few times, I'd fall out of it. A couple of times I'd start to get it. And then right near the end, I was like one of the last two people to come back. So, all eyes are focused on us. And all of a sudden, it just clicked. I got the pressure down on my left foot and just pushed. And I felt her push against me and just stop. And even she said, "Where'd that come from?" I said, "I don't know." And she gave me another good push and I was still holding. And the coach said, "I think she dug down and found that." And, he was like, "That's good. That's good." It's getting there. Again, this is all repetition. And if you keep repeating all these same moves over and over and over again, eventually muscle memory takes over and you're going to get it. And if I'm in a position where I'm having to constantly plow and block, constantly, you're eventually going to get there. And that's what I'm working on. But the other we did We did a lot of cardio the last practice as well. And one of the things we don't do is we don't do all our cardio at the beginning. We actually space our cardio out through the practice. And as the coach said, the reason for that is when you're in a bout, all the energetic shit that happens doesn't happen at the very beginning of the bout. It's not like, oh, you expend all your energy in like the first 3 jams. And then for the next 40, we'll just take it easy. No, it's like, you have peaks, you have ups and downs, peaks and lows. You might only be out on a jam for 20 seconds. And then the next time you go out on a jam, you might be out there for a full 2 minutes, blocking the shit out of some energetic jammer who's slamming into your wall as hard as she can, trying to get through. And you're expending as much energy as you can, trying to keep her from going through. So, so we were going like peaks and valleys. And there was one where we had to actually move up through a pack, stop the pack, and then sprint around the track, then come through the pack again and go back to the beginning. I think I was doing a little what they call swimming. I actually used my arms to push through at one point. I got to remember not to do that. That's what they call swimming, and that will get you a penalty. Yeah. But like I was getting pointers, and one person said, even if you turn your hips a little bit, when you stop, if you get back into position right away, it's cool. And I did. I was like, boom, and I'd get back, and they were like, that's what you need to do. That's what you do. Just get back into position. If your hips turn, get back into position, square up. So I was doing that. But we did a 27.5 my last practice. And I think I actually did one. By the time we got out and we were told, okay, you're going to do 27 laps. And I didn't have my lap counter with me. And it's not actually, well, if you want to call it a lap counter, what I actually have is a pitch counter. I went to Dick's and bought a pitch counter, so I can count off pitches. Except I use it to count off laps. Because if I'm doing this shit in my head, I inevitably screw it all up. I really do. I inevitably screw it all up. So we took off, and I think like the first 7 or 8 laps, I was like 1, 2, and then I got into the habit of not saying it aloud. And then there was some point around lap 13, 14, somewhere around in there where I was like, I don't know if I did. I don't know how many laps I've done. So I just, as I came around and crossed my start position again, I just like, okay, 14, which it may or may not have been. I don't know. But here's the thing. When I got done, I stopped real fast and went over to where the clock was. And when I got to the clock, it was just hitting 5:16. Now, it probably took me anywhere from 5 to 7 seconds to come to a stop and then skate over to the clock and look at it. Probably closer to 7 seconds than 5. So I probably did all my laps in like somewhere between 5:08 and 5:09. But here was the thing. I keep tabs on some of the skaters, and I'll use them as rabbit points. I've said this before. I'll chase a skater down and I'll rabbit them. And I was keeping my eye on like 2 or 3 different skaters so that I could chase them down and catch up to them. And, that was how I paced myself. And there was one skater who I caught and passed kind of like right away. And then they passed me and they got about a half a lap ahead of me. And then I caught them again and passed them. And I remember I was coming around, and I think I was like at 25 and a half laps coming up on what I thought was 26. And I noticed they were already off the track skating around. They went off the track at that point and began skating around. And it was stated that once you finish your 27 laps, skate around the outside. And I was like, really? Did they do 27 laps? And I couldn't, I didn't know where I was at. So I was like, okay, I probably screwed up my lap count. So I counted 26 and then came back around and counted 27 and checked my time. And then I told somebody, I said, I think I did 28 laps. And they told me, yeah, I think you did. Because she said, I noticed when people were getting off and you were keeping up with them, you didn't get off. And another skater told me the same thing. She says, yeah, I think you did 28 laps. But, it was like, hey, doing extra laps is not a problem. Go ahead and do them. So if that's the case, I actually did another 27.5 my last practice. I probably had like about a 457, 458, which is good. And I had even said I wanted to skate like 28 laps to get an idea of, that's my goal, is to do 28 laps in under 5 minutes. Probably did. It came close. If I did 28 laps in 5:09, I'm coming close. It means really I did probably in 5 minutes, I did 27 and a half laps again. If I had had my pitch counter, my lap counter, I'd have known for sure. So, but I'll take it. I'll say, yeah, I did a 27.5. The one thing I wasn't doing, I was pushing real hard on the straights, but I was not doing my crossovers, and I actually got called on it. One of my coaches, she skated up behind me, and she says, you need to start doing your crossovers. You need to get your crossovers in. And I was like, yeah, I know. I was like, yeah. And part of that is I wiped out during one of my 27.5s real bad and went down, and now I'm back in that K-hole of I don't want to do it. I don't want to do my crossovers because I'm afraid I'm going to fall. And a couple of times when I've done crossovers, they've been really shitty because it's like I'm hesitant once again about doing crossovers. But here's the thing. If I'm skating 27 laps without doing any crossovers, and it's basically I'm powering down the straights as hard as I can, I'm not going to work as hard if I can do my crossovers. I mean, that's how I got my first 27.5, was I had crossovers in there for maybe half the way. So you're not working as hard when you're doing crossovers. So yeah, my coach is right. Yeah, start doing your crossovers. So starting with the next practice, it's going to be like, no, even if you have to go slower, force yourself to do those crossovers. And I have noticed when I do crossovers coming out of turns, I pick up speed pretty quick. So, yeah, get back to that. Get back to it. Stop being a wuss. Do it right. So, 2 practices down with the vets. There's no going back now. Really. This is it, baby. And they're going to have, recruitment is starting next week. So if you're in the sound of my voice, if you're watching this and you are somewhere in the Lancaster area, or even like Elizabethtown, or even Harrisburg, like me. One of my other teammates, actually, she lives in Harrisburg. She doesn't actually live that far from me. But yeah, come on down to Lancaster. Skate for House Lancaster. I finally realized over New Year's Eve, because there were a couple of articles that were published about all the strange things that get dropped here in Pennsylvania for New Year's Eve. Like here in Harrisburg, they drop a strawberry because of Strawberry Square. I don't know why. We drop a strawberry. In Bethlehem, which is the home of a Peeps factory, they dropped like a 400-pound peep. And they showed a picture of it. They drop a peep at New Year's Eve. Mechanicsburg, they drop a wrench. Dillsburg, they drop a gigantic dill pickle. There's another place around here, somewhere in Pennsylvania, drops a big hunk of bologna, like a 200-pound, thing of bologna. Because we're Pennsylvania. I don't know. It's shit like that. But Lancaster drops a gigantic red rose, and York drops a gigantic white rose. Now, I've been here for 5 years, and I'm a history buff. And it wasn't until I'm reading this article and I was like, oh, that's because of the War of the Roses. Because during the War of the Roses, which was the fight over who was actually going to control England royally, you had the forces of House Lancaster, or Lancaster as we say down there, but my English friends say Lancaster, fighting against the forces of House York. And the forces of House Lancaster were represented by a red rose, and the forces of York were represented by a white rose. So, the War of the Roses, and it's also what led to a famous Shakespearean soliloquy. Now is winter for discontent, make glorious summer by the son of York. Yeah, Richard III, who was the son of York. But Richard III was also the last of, I believe, the Plantagenets. And then after he was gotten rid of, then House Tudor from Lancaster took over. It originally was almost all of the ruling family in Lancaster was completely wiped out, and York took over. And then House Plantagenet came in to rule the country. And then after a while, they were completely eliminated, and House Tudor from Lancaster took over. And the House of Tudor was Henry VIII's, main gig. And Elizabeth I, too. Let's not forget her. So there you go. But it took me forever. It's like, it didn't register until that. I was like, oh yeah, that's the War of the Roses. So now I would say, well, I skate for House Lancaster. Yeah. So when House Lancaster. So even when DDR ever plays York, the York Derby Dames, that's the world, essentially where we could be reliving the War of the Roses. And it now makes sense because York has a white rose on their jersey. It just shows you, even when you think you know your history, you don't know it as well as you think. I haven't had to deal with that in a long time. So it's like, yeah, the whole War of the Roses thing is going on there. Yeah. So, of course, I'm with the house that will eventually take over, House Lancaster. So yeah, I've been pointing. Yes, I skate for House Lancaster. And if I get certified to play before March, I could skate in. There's a tournament down in Hagerstown called Skate of Thrones, and you may get put on, the White Walkers team or House Lannister, House Targaryen, House Stark, If I get put on House Targaryen, I'm going down with a big Daenerys wig, and I'm taking my dragon with me. I'm taking Toothless with me, and I'll get a photo of myself in my skates with my Daenerys wig under my helmet. Bend the knee, bitches. Bend the knee. Jesus. We have so much fun. Derby. It's so much fun. It is. It's fun. And man, I've been sweating my butt off. I'm rested up. My legs feel better. We'll see how I feel tomorrow. Tomorrow's a bearing cleaning party for some of us. I'm going to take my kit and a few other things and get my bearings cleaned. In fact, after I do this video, I'm going to run out and get some isopropyl alcohol so that I'll have that for bearing cleaning. So I'm all set. Yeah, clean your bearings, clean your wheels. I do it about once every 4 to 6 weeks. it's been about 6 weeks since the last time. No, it's been about a month since the last time I cleaned my bearings and my wheels. So they're about due. I mean, even if they don't need them, it doesn't hurt to clean them. And I'll tell you, I don't pick up as much crap at the Overlook skating as I used to pick up at the Olympic. And I think that's because there's a lot more skaters at the Olympic than there are, open skating. There's a lot more skating at the Olympic than there is at the Overlook. So, you get more shit brought in from the outside. And I used to, my wheels and my bearings would just be a freaking mess. What's really surprising is when you take your wheels off and you find all this hair wrapped around the axles, the hair that you picked up from the ground. Because, people are always losing strands of hair, and you'll pull like a big hunk of wheeled up hair off your axle. Ugh. You'd not think that would happen, but it does. So I'm finally up there with the vets, and January is going to be an interesting month. January is going to be more hard work. I don't think there's ever going to be a point where there isn't hard work. It's, as we were told early on, you're constantly being tested. You're constantly having to prove yourself. You're constantly having to learn and improve. You come in as a tot, you learn how to skate, you learn how to do all these moves, you learn how to do them the right way. And then you're tested at each level so that you can move on. And then once you get in with the vets, it's more of you're tested to see if you're ready for scrimmaging. And you're tested to see if you're ready to be certified to play. And then once you clear that hurdle, then it's more and more learning and testing to see if you can get onto a team. The chances are good I can be cleared for playing by the end of January, the beginning of February. But I probably will not be able to try out for a team until March, which is, that's good. I don't care. If I can do that, that's fine. If I can play on a team sometime this year, I'm happy. But I probably will not be able to play try out for a team until about March. So I'm cool with that. Yeah. I've learned not to get oh, I got something in my eye. What the hell is in my eye? Oh man. I have learned not to set my expectations so high that I crash and burn when I don't reach them. But as I said, there's no reason why none of us, and they said that to it. They said there's no reason why none of you will not be ready, certified to play by the end of January or the beginning of February. Probably more like the beginning of February. As long as I am ready to play so I can go to Battle of the Freshies. That's really, if it's like the beginning of February and they say, okay, you're certified to play. Yes, I can go to Battle of the Freshies. And that would be my first bout. First real bout. Maybe I'll do Skate of Thrones in March. Depends. One of our teammates actually went down to Hagerstown for Seasons Beatings, and she said it was intense. She said the level of play was just incredible. So I don't know. We'll see how Skate of Thrones goes. I'll find out who's going to play in that. And it's like, maybe I want to stick with something simple to start with. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, probably February, March, I'll probably want to try out for a team. Knowing me, probably February, I'll be like, I want to try out for the Blitz. And I might get like alternate. But again, it's like you're going to have to fight to get on a team. You're going to have to prove yourself. You're going to have to show that you can do this. And then once you get on a team, you're going to have to show that I can really do more than go out like once every 10 jams, you know? And then it's going to be like, well, now I have to show that I can go out and do more than just once every 5 or 6 jams. And then it's like, I have to show that I can go out like every other jam and stay with the team. And then it's going to be like, and I can prove I can play pivot, which means I can also jam. You know, it gets cutthroat. We were already warned about that. We were already told, yeah, it's going to be kind of cutthroat. You know, you have to keep proving yourself. It's not going to be a simple case of someone's going to put you on a team. You have to prove that you belong on that team. So I'm ready for that. And I'm working hard at it. And I think I need to work harder. I really do. Because I know there's stuff I'm skating on right now, no pun intended, that I can do better. So let's step that shit up. Yeah, let's step it up. So that's it. Ended up 46 minutes. Yeah, longer than I thought it would. And now it's time to go get isopropyl alcohol. And then when I come back, maybe I'll have lunch. I don't know. I actually didn't eat breakfast until like 10 o'clock. So it's only been an hour and a half since I ate breakfast. And there's really no point in eating lunch right now. But I need to go get some alcohol. So I'll get a couple of containers of isopropyl alcohol and bring it back. And yeah, there we go. All right. You take care. I will see you next week. I want to point out one thing before I go. This is blog post 2,999, which means my next post, my next video, which will be next Saturday, will be post 3,000. Let's see what happens. Anything special going to happen? I don't know. Maybe I'll get naked and dance in front of the tube. Although I think that will violate the YouTube community standards guidelines if I do that. And really, you don't want to see me dancing naked. I don't even want to see myself dancing naked. Trust me. Hey. Okay, you guys take care. Bye.